We treat willpower like an infinite resource, but when you're pushing a massive weight up a steep incline, your strength eventually hits a hard physical limit, and the progress you fought for slides right back to the start. This is the structural flaw in how we approach goals. Every January, the gym is packed with people fueled by New Year's motivation. By February, they've burned out. That cycle isn't a lack of character. It's the natural result of a strategy that relies on peak effort every single day. James Clear's Atomic Habits proposes a different architecture. Instead of trying to increase your discipline or work harder, the focus shifts to engineering microscopic daily behavioral changes that can survive even when your motivation is at zero. But this requires a specific trade-off. You have to trade the immediate dopamine rush of announcing a huge goal for the extreme patience needed to maintain a 1% improvement every day. This chart explains why most people quit in the first month. We expect our progress to follow this straight line, but in reality, the early results of a new habit are almost entirely invisible. This gap is the valley of disappointment. It's the zone where you're putting in the work, but you haven't yet crossed the threshold where those changes become tangible or physical. The results are there, they are just latent. Think of a high school friend you haven't seen in a decade. Their transformation looks sudden to you, but it was actually the product of thousands of invisible daily choices that finally hit a tipping point. Long-term success requires you to starve your brain of that immediate payoff and accept a grind that feels completely unproductive in the short term. This leads to the book's core realization. You do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. I felt this tension when I was in a fast-track PhD program. I had achieved the big goal, but because the daily system of academic research didn't actually bring me joy, the achievement felt empty. I had the right target, but the wrong daily engine. This is the mathematical proof for why systems outperform motivation. If you get 1% better every day, you aren't just moving linearly, you are compounding. By the end of 1 year, that daily gain results in you being 37 times better. However, this math works against you just as easily. A 1% negative habit, like 5 minutes of morning doomscrolling, compounds until you've nearly flatlined your productivity for the year. To stay on the positive side of the curve, you need the 4 laws of behavior change. These are the engineering tools used to build a system that compounds in your favor. This is why habit change isn't a test of your personal character. It's strictly an issue of structural and environmental engineering. We can map these tools onto a 4-quadrant matrix to see how they change your behavior. Law 1 is make it obvious. This is about designing your physical environment so that the correct behaviors are triggered automatically, without you having to remember them. If you want to read more at night, you put your Kindle on your pillow the moment you wake up. When you go to bed, the cue is physically in your way, making the habit impossible to ignore. The trade-off is that this requires front-loaded effort. You have to spend time intentionally organizing your living space, which feels unnatural until the new routine takes hold. Law 2 is make it attractive. You can hijack your brain's reward system through habit pairing. This means linking something you need to do with something you want to do, like only allowing yourself to watch your favorite Netflix show while you're on the treadmill. This demands strict self-policing. If you allow yourself to watch the show on the couch, you break the association, and the system collapses. Technology companies already use these first 2 laws against us. A phone on a nightstand is both obvious and attractive, which is why breaking a scrolling habit is so difficult. When you master laws 1 and 2, you take willpower out of the equation because the correct choice becomes the path of least resistance. Law 3 is make it easy. The most effective tool to reduce friction is the 2-minute rule. You scale your ambition down so far that the habit is almost impossible to fail. Don't read a whole chapter, just read 2 pages. Don't do a full workout, just put on gym shoes. You have to endure the trade-off of feeling unproductive in the short term. It feels silly to just put on shoes and stop, but you are successfully building the neural pathway for the habit. Law 4 is make it satisfying. This addresses a biological trade-off. Our brains evolved to prioritize immediate rewards over long-term benefits. To fix this, you have to manufacture an artificial immediate reward to trick your brain into completing the loop. A simple example is visual tracking. The second you finish a task, you move a paperclip from one jar to another. That tiny click provides the immediate satisfaction your brain craves. The trade-off is accepting that the real transformation is months away. You have to rely on these small, poxy rewards to keep the system running until the big results finally show up. Laws 1 and 2 start the behavior, but laws 3 and 4 ensure you repeat it by making the action effortless to begin and chemically satisfying to finish. We should be clear about the hype surrounding this book. Atomic doesn't mean magic or instant results. It literally means microscopic. Even with a perfect system, you are still looking at months of boring, invisible work before the compounding math yields a visible return. To help you decide if it's worth the read, let's look at the scorecard. The perfect reader is the overwhelmed optimizer. If you are an exhausted professional who needs a structural way to build consistency without relying on hype, this is your manual. However, you should skip it if you are looking for a 30-day rapid transformation, or if you aren't willing to physically change your living environment. The system only works if you change the architecture around you. Think back to the last habit you tried to start and failed. Which of the 4 laws was missing? Let me know in the comments. Systems will always outlast fleeting motivation. If you want more no-nonsense guides to books that change how you actually operate, hit subscribe.